I wanted a peanut.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to So What'd You Learn? A loose lesson today. We learn from other people's mistakes, so you don't have to. I'm Alex.
I'm Zach.
Dallas.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Alex is 30.
Yeah.
His
That
birthday
happened
was
yesterday.
Happy
Oh,
birthday,
God.
buddy.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday to you.
I'm, everyone's like, oh, I loved my 30s. The 40s are where life really spirals out of control. And I'm like, cool.
cool.
So I got 10 years.
Can't wait for that.
I'm re-listening to Sex and Other Human Activities, but only the latter half because reasons. And
Sure.
they were talking about how the average spiraling ages are 23 to 25,
Yeah.
34 to 36, and then like 60.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, life. You
Got to get over this hump, and I got a good like 10 years in me before I.
haven't you learned anything from this podcast? You never stop learning or fucking up.
Exactly.
It's just a constant. It's
You
not
can
a variable.
You can squander everything tomorrow if you felt like it.
You sure could. Mm-hmm. God, it is amazing. You could just literally ruin your life in a day.
Yeah, you
In
could.
an hour. Tweet
20
some,
minutes.
tweet some racist shit and like buy a bunch of shit online.
No, you buy drugs online. You with money you robbed from a pedestrian, and
then you get a wrist rocket and you slingshot those drugs at a baby.
So the prep could be a little bit, but the whole execution less than 20
yeah,
minutes.
you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No good plan ever comes off without a little, extra legwork.
It's true. It's true.
Very true. So what are we doing tonight, Alex?
Oh, we're going out after the
We're doing
pod.
a beer in Georgetown corner.
Yeah.
Yes. More local humor for you guys.
Yeah, we're going to Georgetown, which is a neighborhood of Seattle, for friends in beer and pizza.
Yeah. Which is
Boom.
why we're having loose lessons today.
Yeah,
Real quick
'cause-
one for you.
We're leaving right after this.
Because we got shit to do.
Yay!
If ship, you mean get fucked up and play pool? Then yes.
Hell yeah! I know I don't sound super enthused, but I'll get there with a couple drinks in me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, my boyfriend is an introvert, and so he rubs off on me. So now I'm just
God.
like, I need to prepare myself for social activities.
Or you're saving
So many
energy
people.
for later.
Yes, I'm conserving. I'm like a reptile.
I was going to say a plant gathering photosynthesis, but that works
A
too.
bear hibernating for winter? I don't,
Over my
which
shame.
animal analogy is the best? I don't know.
Oh. We didn't have an email this week, but we did have a question.
Oh, sweet. Lay on us.
Oh.
So actually, multiple people asked me this in person. So whatever.
Oh, wow.
But they were
Famous.
asking. I know.
You're just like,
so famous.
Is that Dallas with
Actually,
a podcast?
The down.
You don't even have to listen to it to ask this question, but they were like, "Where the fuck do your titles come from?" And
My brain.
my brain. So since day one, if you guys even care, is basically we typically have two pretty main overarching stories that happen regardless of who tells them. So we just take an object from each one and smush them together.
Yeah.
Or if there's a particularly decent joke that has a weird punchline, that
Yeah, that-
sometimes will be
yes.
the title.
Yeah, the first few earlier episodes definitely got that. That was just a funny line that was said in the... I know that's where
Wing Grandma came
Wing
from.
Grandma and the Carrot Top...
Megan
one.
Fox plus Carrot Top.
Yes.
God, that's horrifying.
I don't even... Who said that one? Was that... God, we're getting
I think that was
introspective. We're
me.
22
I think that was
episodes
me in the first... Not to toot my own horn in the first, 5 minutes.
Ooh, yeah.
Get the good ones out early, and then it's all shit after that.
But
So-
keep listening, please.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna muster up some stuff for you, I suppose, on the topic of dangerous situations, and we didn't talk to each other before this, but potentially date rape too. But
So trigger warning.
trigger warning. Okay. Yep.
Welcome to the party.
Mark played. Move on. Bob's up next. He's interesting.
Yeah, that's an experience.
Okay,
Buckle
so
up.
see you later, folks.
It was certainly interesting to listen to.
Yeah,
and
we'll
be
talk-
in the room for.
We'll talk about that. No, so the reason nothing bad happened to me, but a few weeks ago it dawned on me like how easily things can happen to people, especially if you're not paying attention to your surroundings, which I'm typically pretty good at.
Could get
Observant. Yeah, could have got. Didn't you want to get got? Nope. So
Fuck.
No, so I wasn't in the latter half of Adam's podcast. If you haven't listened to that,
He bowed out early. He had
Yeah.
shit to do.
yeah, I had
Yes.
stuff going on. So I listened to that, and then I went out on Saturday, and I was just going around from bar to bar. Which, by the way, okay, so I went to Two Finger Social Beer Corner. I went
White Center.
White Center, yeah.
I went to 2 different bars first. I got Bud Light and a Fireball, Bud Light, Fireball, and then I go up to the counter to order a Bud Light and Fireball, and the guy treats me like a fucking bitch.
It's like, we don't have that.
We have a hose out back if you want.
Yeah. So I was like, Jack Daniels PBR.
We don't have that.
Well, what do you have?
Yeah, and it's not like they were out. They just, well, maybe he was out, but they just didn't have it. And so we got a Four Roses and some German, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, no,
this
that place
isn't
is
the
a little.
story.
It's bougie. It's bougier than you would think from its outside because it's decorated with like cool movie memorabilia, a lot of like
Yeah,
horror shit.
it's pretty
and-
dope.
Yeah, it's cool on the inside.
But,
and they play
like-
old movies on a projector.
I don't know. It didn't like bug me. I just every once in a while you get slapped in the face with hipster, and you're
Right,
just
it's
like,
like-
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's like, you know how you're like, hey, this is a bar staple. Like, unless you're going to a speakeasy themed bar that has a fucking password, you're gonna have at least one cheap beer and a whiskey that's not $9.
yeah.
right?
I mean, I could have walked in and said, "Well, whiskey Pilsner," and he would have gave that to me. But I'm
Right.
sure he would have been like,
But you're also not in
"Well,
a
the
movie.
German
Normally, people are specific instead of
Yeah.
walking up to a bar.
try and
and
make it
say,
easy.
I'll have a beer.
Right.
What one would you want?
The beeriest beer.
But no, it's like going to a McDonald's and them getting mad if you ask for a Coke.
yeah."
Right.
But anyway, so I would have just went to the next bar over if I didn't take a lift all the way there. But sorry, burping.
God, right into the mic.
Third time's charm.
Beautiful.
No, so I was just hopping around bars, drinking on my own, having a good old time.
Like you do.
Obviously ended up back at the Hob. So that's what you do. You go to the Hob, it's your home base, and then you go home.
Yeah.
And so I sat down, or I walked in and I saw Adam, and I was like, "Adam, oh my God, thanks for doing the episode. That was awesome." And he's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm good." And I wasn't completely drunk. So we chatted
Did you
for a
look
while.
unhinged or something?
I don't know.
Were
Maybe
you
I was just like a
sweating
little manic.
profusely?
Yeah, I was
Maybe a
just-
little manic, yeah.
Ah, I'm drunk.
Or just charged up from the
I was
Bud Light
charged.
incident.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. But he looked at me like I would just put socks on a bear. Like, I don't know. He looked at me really
All
strange.
right.
Yeah. But
It's like we're looking at you now with that strange analogy.
yeah. So we were talking about the
worked.
episode, and he went to the bathroom, and I thought, hey, this is a good idea. I will buy a Gary Busey cardboard cutout in honor of Adam's episode because we have the Kiss one.
I'm
that's 6
looking
feet
at it
tall.
right now, and it's beautiful.
It's
It's a wonderful addition to the Solid Gold studio.
turns out when you have 4 whiskeys and 4 beers, it's really easy to confuse inches for feet with the little tick marks.
Oh yeah.
You did that again
So-
with the sticker.
I did. I also ordered the stickers at the Hob, and what do you think lesson I learned from that? Obviously no lesson, because this fucking
He doesn't
Thing
know
is-
how big 6 inches is.
He is
Hey.
so small. I thought it was 6 feet.
No, that's a good.
It's
That's
kinda
18
cute,
inches.
honestly.
That's an 18-inch.
Yeah.
That's-
Which so you're telling us that you thought you ordered an 18-foot tall Gary Busey
Out of 8
cardboard
feet.
cutout.
I do remember being excited about how big it was, but I don't remember.
it's gonna be so fucking big.
Yeah. So me and Adam went to the bathroom. At Gary Busey. So now
Put him
since
on
it's
your
so
ceiling.
small, I'm just gonna give it to him because I don't need it.
I mean, it's a wonderful addition to the Solid Gold studio.
is.
I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of he's looking down over us all.
It's adorable.
But
And you
anyway,
you can
this-
see a picture of that in our last Instagram post for
you
Wendy's
can.
episode.
I'm holding it between
Yes,
my
you are.
legs. Busey and me. I even wrote a theme song for it, but I'm not gonna go into it right now.
And you're just going to give him away. You wrote a theme song and everything.
I know.
Look at him. He's crying. He's sad. Look at that tear.
Or you stigmata. I can't tell which.
His jaws are quivering.
Call the Pope. It's a miracle.
God damn it. Well, so that was a really long walk to a short drink of water, but essentially, I sat down. Well, thankfully not a short drink, but I sat down and got a Guinness next to this guy who I've seen at Elmer's a bunch. Like, he's just been around. He's kind of older. He looks like a really rundown Santa Claus.
Oh, I know that
Short
dude.
hair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's around. He's a local. Not
He's always
character. He doesn't really say much.
He's
But-
a fixture.
Fixture. Thank
If you've ever been at that point where you're like, I shouldn't drink anymore anyway, like I need to go home, but you can tell that other people are like, oh, he might be like a little buzzed, or like he's a little bit.
You're still holding it together.
He's having
You're
a good
not,
time.
You're not sloppy drunk yet.
No. And so we were just chatting about like movies and shit. And I went out to smoke, and I came back quite a few times, like within the duration of one drink, because Andy was there. And
Andy, the bartender, shout
yeah,
out.
yeah, yep. And the last time that I got up to go outside and smoke with Andy, I was gonna come back inside and finish my Guinness, but he's like, he did this creepy voice, and it felt like he was kidding, but he might have not have been. And he was like, "Be careful, might just drop a little roofie in the bloop." As I was like getting up, but he did that weird soft voice.
Wait, the Santa Claus guy said this
He
to you?
said that to me, and then like did the action.
Oh no.
Oh, that's no.
No, no, no,
I don't
no.
like.
And I was
You've
like,
done this before, old man.
I've left my drink alone with this guy like all night, like multiple times. Well, twice before this.
That's still multiple.
And I was
times.
like, that wasn't like in my mind. I was like, that wasn't funny at all. So I went outside, and I smoked my cigarette, and then I walked to the end of the street and called the Lyft. And I think my tab's still open at the hobnobber.
beautiful.
But then it just like occurred to me, like, oh man, like if I was a girl or someone more susceptible, that type of stuff. I don't
Well, anyone's
think making
susceptible-
anybody is susceptible.
If you were at like, I don't know, like a gay bar or something,
Sure,
like
yeah.
you would be the target demographic. you
okay,
know.
well,
So everyone
blame
listening,
them.
don't leave your drinks unattended, no matter who
Yeah.
you are.
Yep.
Because
I mean-
some people will drug your drink not with the intention of like sexually assaulting you, but just because they get off on the power
manipulation.
of drugging someone.
Yeah. Or
I
they
mean-
want to rob you.
Yeah.
or they want to rob you too. But yeah, I don't know. That just like it sat with me wrong, and I
You had a
felt-
realization about the
Yeah.
world we live in.
I mean, nothing bad happened to me because I woke up remembering the fact that I almost got roofied, and I took a lift home and everything, and it was fine. But
I've told you two stories of me getting almost kidnapped from coming home from a bar, so you knew this was a potential.
yeah, true. So yeah, I was thinking about that for a while. I just thought I'd mention it, but it was just so like I know he doesn't have roofies, but if he
Maybe
somehow,
he's the guy who supplies the roofies.
I don't know, but like he was
I'm kidding. I
The,
don't
Some
the,
jokes
ac-
aren't
the action
funny.
of doing it above your drink, just miming it, is
just
very
really
strange.
rubbed me the wrong way. I was
Yeah.
like,
Like,
we're
oh, you've
done
done this
talking
before.
now.
yeah.
Even if it was a joke, sound like kind of joke.
Remember, kids, don't use the gel caps; they don't dissolve.
Fuck.
Thanks, old man.
God damn it. But yeah, and the other thing about roofies too is this didn't happen to me, but somebody I knew from growing up dated a girl, stopped dating her, and then went out on a date with her again after like 10 years, right? And they went to a show. I can't remember. It was like Paramount or Neptune or something like that. I was Neptune actually, and he was talking to me about it afterwards, and how she texted him like 3 days later because like I'm sure they did something together, but like after the show or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, like hooked up or whatever, who knows. And she wrote this book to him over the text about how she got roofied, wasn't blaming him, but wasn't aware of like consenting essentially. So that, and it was a really strange situation because she like on one hand, like back in the day, like she was kind of how do you put this, dramatic, not all there, like
Chaotic.
yeah. And on the other hand, this guy had been with her all night, and they only drunk like 2 PBRs, and they never left each other's sight. They didn't even go to the bathroom or anything.
So someone else roofied this woman's drink, and she
Potentially.
potentially,
Yeah.
and then she slept with this person who she knows and is in a relationship with, presumably,
or dating or
or
whatever.
whatever. And but there was an issue of she might not have been all the way there.
Right. And so like on one hand, maybe you just regret doing that and you made up an excuse because that would be insane. On the other hand, somebody managed to slip you a roofie through a PBR can while you're dancing around. So it was like one of those things where it's like it could have happened, but also if it didn't, either way, like it's just, I don't know.
Well, also, I mean, I don't have any personal experience.
I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm trying to like put both scenarios in
right.
front.
Right.
I
no,
don't
see what
have
you're
any
saying.
experience with like drugging people's drinks or having my drink drugged.
No, I've never done it.
I've had.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
sometimes my drinks get drank by me,
Sure.
and they're tasty,
They go in my belly.
but they don't get drugged yet.
Night's not over.
well,
But
that's how I like to relax. I just roofie myself and I'm out like a light.
You know, I take a fifth of Fireball to the dome and chase it with some muscle relaxers.
fuck.
I like to roll the dice when I go to bed.
Will I wake up? Who knows?
But aren't the symptoms usually pretty apparent that someone
Yes.
has been drugged? Like
You-
you
from
have
what
lack
I
of muscle
understand.
control,
Yeah.
Slurring words.
slurring,
So,
staggering. That sort
I
of thing.
did. This did pique my curiosity, and I did a bunch of as much as Wikipedia and like drug forums will give you, but essentially it's very similar to taking too many painkillers. So you can't walk.
Right.
At a certain point, you get to the point where you can't move.
It slows down your nervous system to a
Yeah.
point where you don't like die and your lungs
Yeah.
and all that shit still works, but your muscles don't.
Your muscles don't work. And leading up to that point,
Sounds horrifying.
Yeah. It's like being in a living coma almost.
yeah, it was saying like
Or waking coma.
nonsensical sentences, like can't explain anything. Like you basically can't talk or really move very well for a few hours, and then I guess
You're coherent,
eventually
but fucked
you
up.
just rubber or ragdoll essentially, and this is all very disturbing symptoms. But my buddy was like, none of this happened. Like totally, we were talking all night. We watched movies. She never fell asleep. Like, was moving around and got her like left on her own and got a ride home and all that stuff. Like, so
Weird.
I
I don't know
don't
what
want
to
to
say
victim
about
blame, but I really don't know what to say about that. Yeah. But anyway,
Anyway,
so if you have any input on that situation, go ahead and let us know. So wdoilearn@gmail.com. This was also years ago, so none of it matters anymore, but it still happened. So
yeah.
It's still a thing floating around in your brain. Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah. Sometimes people make decisions that they regret later and then don't want to. That's all I'll say. Anyway,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Tough situation.
So
please edit all of that out.
this topic also made me think of being aware of your surroundings, and I forgot what episode it was, Alex, but the one where you get your headphones stolen.
Oh,
and
can't we talk about trains?
Yeah. Can't we talk about
Can we talk about this?
Don't wear your headphones if you think somebody's following you, or pause your music, I guess. But
Yeah.
I think your
I always
music was
keep one
paused.
earbud out. but-
No, it wasn't paused.
Oh.
I got mugged to the fucking Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky, which is the most
That's the most you thing.
it's the most me thing, but also it's not pleasant sounding music. It's really just jarring and upsetting
Aggressive, yeah.
and aggressive. So it's like that's the soundtrack to me getting mugged.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so look that up and then
If
pause
you've
it.
ever seen Fantasia, the part with
Yeah.
the dinosaurs,
No!
yeah, with
yeah,
the
yeah.
earthquake and everything,
Love
that's
Fantasia.
that's the Rite of Spring, and it's
Epic.
it's a trip, especially when you're getting tackled from behind.
You know.
Oh,
and not in a fun way.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Zach, do you have anything on this topic that you could share?
Yeah, certainly. I've done a lot of dumb shit I shouldn't.
Oh yeah, not necessarily something bad happening to you, but if you got yourself in a horrible situation, besides wing grandma.
You know. Besides all the other stories I've illuminated you all with on this podcast.
Yeah.
But no, it was very similar to what Dallas said is, just keep your head on a swivel and be aware of your surroundings. But this story really doesn't have much to do with it. It's just I was dumb and young, and that's just kind of what happened. So in college, me and my roommate were trying to go to a football game, and it was a little bit of a hike, so we said, all right, fuck it. let's try and find a shortcut, me and Burl. So, so we're walking along the stadium. It's probably about a mile away or so, not that far. I'm like, okay, I think I know a shortcut behind this apartment building, and just have to get around a couple fences. No biggie, whatever. We ended up accidentally sneaking into an active power plant that is on the campus, if Western Michigan University, if you know it, you know it. Which is somehow we got in. We jumped over a fence that was probably about chest high. I was like, okay, no big deal. We can scale over this. And then we come to be surrounded by barbed wire fences that are about, I don't know, 15 feet high.
Oh my God.
Holy shit, I've never heard of this story.
Yeah, no, I've never told you guys this one.
All right.
So we kind of panic. We're like 18, clearly not supposed to be there.
Right. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Pretty much. But it's a Saturday, so none of the workers were there. So we're like looking around. It's like I spot some cameras. It's like, okay, they know we're here. Let's just not do anything and leave.
Yeah.
But you think the smart thing is go back the way you came, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, let's finish the shortcut.
Yeah, no, the shortcut's working out great. Stadium's just right beyond that fence. I can see it from here.
Oh, yeah.
So, my roommate, Burl, decides to climb the fence. He's, we're 18, we're in good shape and could still do that. But as I mentioned before, barbed wire fence.
Oh, God.
You know what barbed wire does to clothing? And
Makes
skin.
it better?
Yeah, no, it
Makes
some
it
cool,
punk rock, dude.
makes some cool alterations, including ripping.
We're doing barbed wire rip clothes night, man. You better show up right attire. If it wasn't barbed wire, we'll know.
Just gonna set up a rack of barbed wire or Barbie. We don't have a slang term for it. I lost that joke.
It's okay. Yeah, I was with you for
God.
it. But yeah, no, it's like a pro wrestling and punk rock mixed together. So, do you want another shot at it, or
No.
you kind of look like you did?
I was just sitting in my shame.
Okay.
Now sit in it. Sit in
Okay.
it.
Yes, Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sad.
Moving on.
So Burl scales the fence, the 15-foot barbed wire fence, gets to the top, and suddenly has the realization, how the fuck am I going to get over this? That is not the thought you want to have when you're 15 feet in the air on a fence.
No.
So I'm still on the ground in the power plant area, just looking at him, just like, I don't know, man, just, you probably won't get hurt if you fall.
Oh, God.
So that's basically what he did his best to kind of like belly crawl over the barbed wire, but his
like head for
but his both his pants and his shirt got caught in the barbed wire, and he slipped and fell 15 feet to the ground. Hit his hands caught him, but he kind of face first.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And
15 feet is not a short.
it's not a short distance to fall basically on your head.
Yeah.
He was fine, of course.
Really?
I mean, yeah, he got up.
Motherfucker.
But
I mean, no more brain damage than he already may have been.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't very smart for doing this in the first place. So it wasn't that much to lose.
That's fair.
So
I can just imagine him falling through the air, and the song that comes into his head is just "When the light closes."
and the sound of tearing clothes because he ripped his pants from the crotch to the knee. and
Man,
the
he is
inseam.
lucky he didn't lose a nut, dude.
Yeah, no, and he's lucky he's wearing underwear that day too. I wasn't. So
Why?
I was 18. I was 18 and I don't know how to do laundry or didn't know how to do laundry. So I was freeballing
tracks.
it at the point.
Yeah, I mean, I think I learned to do laundry at 17.
It was later that year
16.
that I taught myself because we had
Surprisingly late skill.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Same.
Thanks,
my
parents.
late skill is dishwasher. Because we didn't have a dishwasher for years and years and years, so we did it
same.
all by hand.
Yep.
And so, like,
You were just like, how does this work?
yeah, I'm just like, I don't.
Same.
How do I load the soap?
I don't know how this works. Yeah.
My boyfriend's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, we never had one of these.
Same thing when
I feel
started
bougie."
when I started dating Kaylee. Same exact thing. Never used a dishwasher before in my life, just because we didn't have one growing up. So
Yeah.
she was like, "Oh yeah, just can you fill the dishwasher and take?" It's like, sure. And then it's just me staring at this machine, scratching my head. Like,
You'd
I
Google
never
it if
felt
you had a
dumber.
smartphone. God. So what happened to your? What happened?
So he rips his pants and his shirt. Got a few minor scratches on him.
Sure.
Well, I just witnessed him do that.
Almost die.
Almost die.
And
It's
now
like,
you're face to face, and he's on the other side of the
yeah,
fence.
I was like, fuck, I can't do that.
No.
I'm not going to do that. So I went with my inner rabbit. I dug a hole underneath
Are you
the.
fucking kidding me? How old are you?
I was 18.
That tracks. I can dig my way out of this.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
So yeah.
You're like stuck in a bear trap, then you chew the wrong one off, trying to escape.
Damn it. No.
So I managed to, army crawl my way through my little spider hole I've dug under the fence. And we look at ourselves. I'm covered in dirt and mud. He's got ripped clothing and is bleeding.
Well, on to the game.
And we went to the game.
Gosh. That's great.
Uh,
Oh, man.
So that's just a lesson on.
the stupidity of youth.
So somewhere, and again, same with Alex's story last week. There's security footage of you doing this somewhere in the world.
Two idiots running around.
I was talking about. I wanted a security video compilation of you hitting the door,
the
button.
security.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man.
I'm glad that the cameras that we have at work aren't actively monitored.
Yeah.
Because I say some fucked up shit at
Most
work.
cameras aren't.
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I always like to look for them when I walk into a store or I'm out and about. And
You're
it's
like,
camera,
flip 'em
camera,
off,
camera.
fuck you, man.
I mean,
At my work,
my
in
own little way.
at my work in 2015, they were doing full-on office security cameras, so security cameras everywhere, not just entrances
And toilet cams, but that was for a more special project.
Yeah, sure. And but essentially, so they installed them everywhere. So they're above our cubes and in the hallways, at the entrances, right outside the bathrooms, break room, everything, everywhere. And it was just
Constantly
the type of roof you just kind of push up and it.
Yeah, those crappy ceiling tiles.
Oh,
Yeah.
drop ceiling.
Drop ceiling,
Yeah.
yeah. And so they just cut holes in the drop ceiling for it, and it was a little dome. And somebody Googled it. They went up there and poked it and looked at the numbers and what type it was and Googled it. These fucking cameras. Okay, so from 12, they can drop 12 feet. They have a mirror system inside of them, and you can look from the perspective of a 7 foot tall person. So in 3D. So
Yeah, it
you
kinda
could see
drops down
computer
almost.
screens, what's on
Like
your
a periscope
phone.
almost.
Yeah, like it was like a periscope, but it didn't move at all.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
illusion-wise, yes.
So it's
Using mirrors and stuff like that. Yeah.
crazy.
So you could zoom in and do enhance that kind of stuff. We watched a video. It was fucking crazy. I've never
and
seen
yet
anything
so
like
many
this.
people at your office are always caught doing stupid shit on their computers.
Yeah,
playing-
you don't need a camera for that.
I don't know if did you tell on this pod the story of the guy who
The keyboard
the
noise?
keyboard, the YouTube,
Yes.
that YouTube,
Oh,
the
he did-
typing
he did tell
noises?
that
I did.
one.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that.
I'd
Stuff.
tell it again. I love that. Oh man. But yeah. So we looked this up, and then somebody was like, "Hey HR, this isn't cool," and they're like, "We didn't know about this," and they took them all out.
didn't know that they
So-
could be used that way.
They didn't know.
Weird.
Yeah. They just sent him a link to the video and was like, "Hey, is this what we got in the office?"
Did you know that can do this?
Yeah, it's a 30. I think I still have it somewhere. I could show you guys. But so they spent 4 days installing this while we were on the phone and running cables and people sweating their ass
I'm sure
off.
it's a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, in the middle of a call center. And then they get it all installed, and then they just gotta uninstall everything.
It reminds
God,
me of.
there's-
Have you either of you watched the show Better Off Ted?
Oh no.
I remember it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
The main character is this guy named Ted, who is the PR or he's some sort of person for this giant soulless corporation, and his boss is an icy, sociopathic Portia de Rossi.
Oh, neat.
And they decide they're going to cut costs by installing motion sensors for the doors and the water fountains and the lights and the locks and all this stuff. Except the problem is that the system doesn't see the black employees. So all the black employees got locked in the building overnight because they couldn't get from room to room.
Wasn't this like a 90s sitcom?
No, this is from the mid 2000s.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Maybe post 2010. It was like
really?
the 2010s. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the solution, instead of, because it was too expensive to replace the system, they just hired a bunch of white people to follow the black employees around and activate all the stuff for them because it was cheaper than pulling the system out.
Well, that's based on a real thing. Like some paper towel dispensers or like faucets won't recognize black people's skin. It's kind of interesting.
I really hope they've changed the technology by now.
I don't think they have.
It's gotten better from what I understand, but it's not like you still run the risk of.
Does that have something to do with light?
Light and how if it's
that makes
if
sense.
it's infrared it would be fine, but if it's
heat signature.
It's heat signature. But if you're using optics, it just depends. If a skin doesn't reflect enough light to activate the sensor, then it's effectively not going to see
fucking
people with dark skin.
Feels like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah, but then the episode devolved into where people were fighting over who got the best a white person to follow them around.
Jesus.
That show's fucking wonderful.
See, that's when you buy the Richard Nixon mask.
Oh boy. Well,
yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Sweet.
tuning into
for our
So What'd You Learn Loose Lessons.
piece of garbage podcast.
Yeah.
Way to sell it, boys.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, if you have any experiences or stories related to or otherwise, you can send that to sowdwylearn@gmail.com. We will read them on the air for you. And if you want to have extra fun, you can pick who you want to read your story.
Yeah.
Because we all have different levels of reading comprehension here at So What'd You Learn podcast. And
some of us can do voices.
yeah. Sure can. Oh man. What if they split it up Zach says this part, I say this part, I'm this character. That'd be fun.
That'd be kind of
That'd
fun.
be like, this person's too high maintenance. Delete.
Delete.
Wow, you clearly spent a lot of time on this spam.
We're kidding. We love you. Please
Yes, please
send
send us stuff.
Also,
join the Facebook group
Yes.
and hang out there, and then
and leave us a review on iTunes.
yeah,
that's all that matters. You can't leave reviews on Spotify. I know most of
No.
our folks use Spotify to listen to us, but yeah, you can't do it on Pocket Cast either. No,
Pocket Cast doesn't allow
Review
ratings.
systems are
What
hard.
about Himalaya? Does Himalaya have one?
Himalaya does have a rating system, but
I don't know.
nobody fucking uses it.
Yeah.
We should figure out what that one dude in France uses.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could.
France,
We
let
should
us
ask
know.
him, hey, what platform do you use? Do you use the iTunes? Well, if you do,
Probably.
give us a review.
Yeah.
Are you on the
So-
You can
YouTube?
literally just write good podcast.
Intercontinental reviews, dude. Go miles.
Yeah.
Literally.
Dig it.
So what'd you, so WDO I Learn Pod at Instagram and Twitter.
God, this is dragging.
I think that's all the plugs.
Okay, guys, I think we're ready to eat pizza and get fucked up.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool. Goodbye. Cue the fucking guitars, dude.
Goodbye, everybody. We love you. Happy birthday, Alex.
The So What Did You Learn podcast is brought to you by the So What Did You Learn network. Theme written and recorded by Jacob Rose. Our logo is designed by Stevie Van Bronckhorst. Further work of hers can be found at stevievanb.com.